Well, I've got a busy day ahead of me. I've got a couple of meetings and kind of odds and ends I need to take care of, but hopefully I can get started on this. I picked up the 1/2 inch plywood. This is just a 4x4 sheet, so it's gonna be plenty. And then I got these kind of what do they call them? Draw tight catch. These are those ones like I have on that just kind of snap down. I think that will work. My table saw lost a foot down here a long time ago. So now when I set it down, it's all wobbly. But so I just keep this wedge, it's a piece of walnut here, and I just kick it under there. So that levels it out. So I call that the shotgun and cornflakes method of solving problems. I always like to find the simplest solution to a problem that I can. And I think it was Wyatt who coined the phrase shotgun and cornflakes. And this goes back to, I was telling him about an old movie. I don't know if you guys remember a movie called Scanners by David Cronenberg, one of my favorite directors, but it's got an iconic scene in there where a guy's head just explodes. And the way they accomplished that, this was before CGI, is they made this dummy head and then they filled it up with all kinds of junk. And I remember reading about this at the time that it was like, I don't know, just of course a lot of Karo syrup and little bits and bobs and things that they could find. But one of the things that they included in there was cornflakes. And so to make this thing explode, what they did is they just angled a shotgun in the back behind the model and just fired it off. So it was really just shotgun and cornflakes for that effect. And I always thought that was just so cool, but really my whole shop is kind of filled with shotgun and cornflakes solutions. By the way, even on a project as simple as this box, I like to make up a cut list so that I'm not wasting any of the wood and I can have it all laid out ahead of time. So here you can see I've laid this out for my 1/2 inch plywood. This is a 48 by 48 inch sheet. And I've got these three boards are 20 inches wide. This will be the top and these are 2 of the sides. And since these are all the same, it makes sense to have those lined up this way so that I can make a single cut that way. And then I can cut off these 2 pieces and I'll be able to cut this way so I can save this and this piece for other projects. Only other thing I'm keeping in mind is the grain direction. I'm assuming that the grain is running this way. So in this case, I think it's gonna just look nicer to have the grain running up on the short lengths of the box rather than going side to side. And I know it doesn't really matter on a shop project, but I always like to include that. I'll switch this over to some dado blades. So I'll need to install a sacrificial fence here so that I can just kind of embed these blades into it without ruining my rip fence. And I picked up these clamps from Rockler long time ago, and they're pretty cool because you just drill some holes along the edge of a plywood board and then they can drop down in and fit right over your rip fence. I think this is like something that they're just specifically designed for this one purpose. So I'm going to start by just making a test run here on this scrap board, and what I've noticed is these 1/2 inch boards typically aren't a 1/2 inch. They're a little bit less, so it's no different with these. So I'll just line it up as best as I can here. So that seemed to work out. So now I can cut all 4 edges on the top piece and then 2 edges on 2 of the side pieces. Just out of curiosity, I thought I would look up the Scanners story about how that effect was done. And it was done with the shotgun position behind the dummy. And they do talk about how they put all the stuff in there, but there's no mention of cornflakes. And I swear I remembered that, and the movie came out in 1981. And I probably read about it in Fangoria or some other magazine at the time. So At least that's the memory I have, but that was a long time ago. But I'm still gonna stick with the expression shotgun and cornflakes. Okay, so this is the top, and these two pieces with the rabbets will fit on like this, and then, oops, let's try it that way. That's the way that's gonna go. And then these pieces, which I haven't cut to their lengths yet, will just drop down into those rabbets. These don't require any rabbets, but I didn't want to cut them down to size yet because I wanted to take an accurate measurement here. We all remember what happens when I just go straight off my plans. But in this case, it's kind of especially important to take a measurement rather than cut this sort of thing, because those rabbets are probably not exactly half the depth, half the thickness of the wood. I just kind of estimate when I cut those things. So let's see if I can do this. This is when I get a third hand. Don't breathe on it. Naturally, I want to take a measurement on this bottom side, not here where it's probably caving in. So, don't worry, that was something else. It's really windy out today, and like everything's blowing and falling down, and I got that sunlight reflecting off of my windshield again right at me. Okay, so it looks like, yeah, it's a good thing I measured this out because it's slightly less than my plans. You probably know the rule of thumb when using your rip fences. You shouldn't really rip things that are wider than they are long, but sometimes you can get away with it. Here, this two short pieces, as long as I'm keeping enough pressure against this fence and focusing on this side of the piece, I should be okay, because it's still quite a bit of material that's touching the fence. What I don't want to do is try to push here on both sides of this, which could cause it to bind in there. So while this is drying, I can measure this opening and cut out the base, which is 3/4 inch plywood, and it needs to fit inside of this measurement. And here I'm cutting out those lower support strips. So I guess I could use pocket screws to put these together, but I don't really think I need to, since this piece is going to be glued on top. I think I just glue these together on the ends. It should be okay. So this piece, I need to center it equally all the way around. I think I could do that just by dropping the box down on top of it. Yeah. I kind of thought I'd add some extra weight to it and make sure that it dries nice and flat. Yeah, well, I didn't get this all done in one day like I intended, but I had a lot of distractions. I got a late start today, so I'll just finish it up tomorrow. Again, it's not like I'm in any hurry here. I want to sand this down nice, and I think I'll paint this too. I think that will look nice. So all I got to do is sand it down, put the casters on, and see if that latch works out for it. I'll see you guys tomorrow.